So hello fellow Earthlings. This is Earthling 6455463728. And was Susan Sarandon right, seemingly so many years ago, when she said that some people think that Donald Trump might start or cause the revolution, as she said? This is something that she said on CNN, I think, in the run-up to the election. I think she had been a Bernie Sanders supporter, and it was just, she was having a conversation. She said, yeah, some people think Donald Trump might start, something like that, the revolution. And it was in text. I saw it in text. And I think a lot of people saw it in text. They didn't actually see the interview. And I think it was a headline that we saw. And I was upset. I think a lot of people were upset because we had an idea. We were thinking, what is she talking about? That Donald Trump will bring about these good things? That doesn't seem likely. What is she on about? Anyway, without listening to it, the headline got me upset and got some other people upset. I saw headlines about those people being upset. And then I decided, hey, let me go see what she's talking about in real words. Let's look at the video. I think she had to walk back her comments or explain or something, but I wanted to see the original video. And I was surprised because it was the opposite of what the headlines made it seem like she was saying. I guess she was saying that Donald Trump will push things in such a far direction that will cause people to actually come out and want to change things, I guess. And I stopped being upset with her, and I think I started to appreciate what she was saying. And so now, it's been a number of years. Is that the case? Has he brought about the revolution? I would say not. Not really. I would say that it's been close. It was definitely close. If Joe Biden had not decided to get into the race, then it looks like Bernie Sanders would have been the nominee. And as, the first Jewish president of the U.S., and one of the most progressive candidates that the U.S. has probably ever seen or would have ever seen, I think that would have been very, very interesting to see. That would have been a world that would have been very interesting for me to live in. Somebody who could see the threats that are on the horizon. I mean, we all can. Maybe some of us are denying it with respect to climate change, with respect to social unrest, and so on. One other thing that I want to talk about, though, is what did she mean by the revolution? And I'm just going to go into, I hope, to be a very short little discussion on that. A lot of times we say a revolution this, a revolution here, a revolution. And there's the Bolshevik revolution, if I've got it correct, in Russia, where, they got rid of the Tsar, and then they got a bunch of dictators that were like the Tsar. And there was the French Revolution, where they got rid of their king, and then they got an emperor instead. And, what happened in China, I can't remember what the democratic side or the capitalistic side in China's civil war, what they were like. But obviously, they got communist dictatorships. In Cuba, they overthrew the guy who was, appointed by the U.S., who became a dictator at the behest of the U.S., and they traded that guy in for Castro, who was supposed to be, I guess, a better dictator. It seems like a lot of revolutions are exactly what they sound like. They are a revolution, a turning, but it's oftentimes a 360-degree turn, meaning it's right back to where you started. And sometimes it's even worse, because I don't know how many people the Tsar was killing. I don't know how many people that were being killed before Mao in China. I don't know how people fared before Castro. But a lot of times these revolutions, I took a Chinese history class a long time ago, and it seems that the leader of the revolutions would just begin their own dynasty. And when things happen poorly again, they would just revolt and start a new dynasty then. But here we are. A lot of things have happened. We've had the Me Too movement. We had the Women's March, after Trump was elected. We had the Blue Wave, as in the first congressional elections that were held after Trump was elected. And there was a blue wave, apparently, even though people said there wasn't, but there was, apparently. The question is, does the blue wave still have energy in it? I think that blue wave still has some gas in it. And if it was waning at one point, I think the way that the pandemic has been handled in the US, as well as the accompanying high unemployment, as well as the protests with respect to George Floyd's killing, as well as the subsequent killing by a guy in Atlanta. There's a lot of steam, I think, that might be helping that blue wave. I think that's mixed metaphors. Steam and this wave. I think there's a lot of push. And there's a theory that's out there that seems to me rather plausible. That is not that there are any swing voters. It's that having had 4 or 8 years worth of the other side being in power, the other people just get upset, and they come out more, in arms to vote. They are more motivated to vote after 4 or 8 years of one of the other side holding Congress or holding the presidency, or whatever it might be the case. So I see that, at least when it comes to elections, that things are going to change. With respect to Me Too and George Floyd's death, I think a lot of superficial things have changed. One of the things that struck me during this pandemic was that people were worried, and maybe deservedly so, that there would be more instances of domestic violence. And if anything had happened because of Me Too, that should have been a conversation. What is Me Too? What has been Me Too's effect on domestic violence? Is that changing anything? And I didn't hear anything about that. It could be that I'm in my own bubble, but if there's no ongoing conversation about the legacy of Me Too, and all the media houses are tired of it, and there is no, national association for the advancement of female people, I think that it's like the complete opposite of having a Trump. tweeting stuff out all the time. I think there should be a Me Too speaker who is tweeting stuff out there regularly. I thought that this guy, Dylan Farrow or Rowan Farrow, was going to be out there unearthing these big hidden stories, but he isn't. And it begs the question, has anything really changed? Has Trump brought about the revolution? And I don't think so. I don't think the real revolution that people think about when they think about a revolution, I don't know that it's possible. I think that you can overturn the people who are in power, but then there's always somebody willing to use the power of the people to just get back on top. And I don't think that revolution is ever really permanent. You can't, in a moment's notice, change how people think. It's like in South Africa. People have freedom, yes. There's no more apartheid. But is the average black person in South Africa, has their life significantly improved? I guess they have more electricity, but I think the townships are still the townships and the other areas are still the other areas. So that's unfortunately how it seems to be. Anyway guys, you can wish me luck, you can like or unlike, you can comment, subscribe, and or share. And of course, you can do nothing, but should you? Peace.